You got me?
Got you,
Awesome,
man.
man. How you going?
Good,
How are
bro. Very well.
you?
Good.
Nice.
Good to see
Excellent.
you.
You too. You too.
It's been a long time. Been a long time,
It has
man.
it has been a while, dude. How's London going?
It's good, bro. Yeah, kind of crazy. We've been in hard lockdown now for
Yeah,
like
yeah.
ever since it started because while Oz was sort of getting sort of like I don't know maybe 2 or 3 deaths a day, we were up at like 500. So
Yeah,
we
man. Fucking
yeah.
crazy.
So and my missus is a nurse, so she's really
Yeah,
dialed into
shit.
like pandemics and the
Yeah,
seriousness of them. So
yeah.
whereas I was a bit like, I'm not going to let the media tell me what to do in the early days. Like I'm not, I'm not,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not going to be scared into not going outside. She's like, Kieran, like take this seriously. And yeah, we
Yeah.
had a couple of Barneys over it, but yeah, then in the end, I got the message and it sunk in eventually. Um,
Yeah, right, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah. How about you? How have you sort of coped through it all?
Yeah, look, like because I'm teacher, like was pretty much we were off school, like doing online lessons for about 6 weeks or something. It must have been the last 2 weeks of term two and the first 4 weeks of term of no, we just gone into term three. So it must have been the last couple of weeks of term one
Yep.
and the first 4 weeks of term two and basically the school holidays. So I pretty much didn't leave the house for like 8 weeks or something like that. Man.
Crazy,
So
man. Did
it
your
was pretty wild.
did your school adapt okay to online learning?
Yeah, we did. Like I sort of had to head up a bit of a digital learning team just to sort of get all the teachers up to speed. So I made tons of videos on how to do this and how to do that and
Nice.
got all the teachers sorted. And yeah, look, we got there in the end. It was like the first couple of weeks was a bit of a whatever. It was like the Wild West, man. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, we'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
And then there was a bit more structure going into the second term. So I think we're pretty good. Like if it does happen again, which at the moment it's probably looking like it probably will at
Yep.
some point
Yeah.
over the next month or so, then we're well prepared
Okay.
now.
Yeah, good
So,
stuff.
yeah, we've got a bit of an idea of what to do. But yeah, it looked like it was, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Not much you can do about it, man. So it's just fucking stay inside, make music, and
Yeah.
that's it, really. Yeah.
How is the music? How is the music making going? This is sort of one of the reasons I wanted to get you on. What have you been
Yeah,
what have you been
cool.
working on? I mean, yeah.
Do you want me to start hitting record like with this now, or?
Yeah, go, mate. Yeah,
Yeah,
go for
cool,
it.
man.
So, one
Just
of
get the mic cracking.
no sweat. One of the things that
All right.
one of the things that I learned in working in radio is hit record before anything
Always,
starts. Like, just
always record.
always record.
Yeah.
You never know when you're gonna when some gold's gonna happen.
Totally. Yeah, no, that's recorded now, dude. So
Cool,
all
brother.
Good. Yeah, so as far as music's going, like I started up a label a couple of years back, or it was probably a few years ago that I actually started it.
Mhm.
But I didn't really do anything with it until last year. So I just sort of had it there dormant for a bit as a bit of a thing, but I didn't really have anything I wanted to release on it.
Okay.
And then I kind of launched it about halfway through last year, called Specious Music. And it's just basically like, at the moment, it's just me.
Mhm.
I'd love to have some other people on there in the future, but for the moment, it's just basically my outlet for music now. So that's good. Like it's good to have something to work towards, because for a few years there, I was like, because I got over the whole dubstep thing, and it's not that I got over it. I just burnt myself out on it. Like I still love it, but yeah, I probably, I still am really influenced by it and stuff like that. But after that sort of
Fizzled out.
just sort of like, I got sick of it. So
it sort of had a rise and fall.
It did, didn't
and
it? Yeah.
I think, a lot of us had so much emotion invested in it because we were so in love with it that when
that's right.
it had a rise and fall, it felt personal.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a very, very personal thing. And, I put so much of myself into it for so long, and I just sort of felt like I got so little back, and so I sort of got over it, and I was like, look, I need to do something else. But it took like a few years of me stuffing around and trying to figure out, like I was doing sort of, making some live music stuff with guitars and that sort of thing.
I remember, yeah.
And then I was like, oh, look, I've been listening to heaps of techno and getting right into that. And then, and then sort of started making some of that stuff. And then along came the whole grey area thing. And that's when I just went ballistic for it. And yeah, so pretty much that label kicked that off. I was looking at my Facebook. It was like a year to the day, like yesterday, I think, that the first release came out. So
nice.
I've had 2 releases so far, and I've got another one coming out next week. So not tomorrow, but Monday after, so 10th of August. So yeah,
that's awesome, man.
So yeah, it's going good, man.
Yeah. Okay, so are you sort of, a question that I've got regarding that is, are you now not trying to get released on other labels? Are you, or because I imagine as someone in your position, as a bit of background, I've only just started producing, and I should have started a long time ago, but I didn't because I was buying a lot of records at the time, and every time I sat down to try and make a beat, I was like, well, such and such's beats are just so much better than mine, and time doing this is not time spent hunting records, so I'd rather be doing that. So I ended up, long story short, I've only just got Ableton, light version, that kind of thing. And what I'm trying to get at is that you're like so much further down the line from me, but I've obviously been watching the scene for a very, producers for a very long time. So, historically, I guess you always want to, the mentality, I guess, has been try to get signed to a label, but you're now it seems like, you've started up your own one because, I don't know what it is. Like, you can't be fucked waiting for people to sign you. It's just like,
pretty much,
create
it's a
your
bit
own
of,
medium.
I'm a bit impatient sometimes. Like I sort of had a good crack at like trying to get releases on Horo and that sort of direction, like Samurai. So not Samurai itself, but Horo, their sub label that does more of the techno stuff. And then they sort of started going in a different direction musically that I still like, but it's not me.
Okay.
So, that I find that their stuff is, as much as I love it, a lot of it is really monochrome. I don't know. It's sort of like quite, shades of grey and black, and it's quite dark, and there's not a lot. I love melody and I love like harmony and stuff like that. And I feel like there's not a lot of that side of things in it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, obviously there's some great hooks and stuff like that in some of their tracks.
Probably more about the groove than melody.
Yeah. It's more atmosphere. It's more of a vibe than anything else, which is great, which is, that's why they exist and it's awesome, but it's not me. So I sort of was like, well, do I want to keep going for that, but not represent myself and change the way that I do things just to get a release on there? I just keep being me, but not have many people that would want to put that stuff out there. So I was like, well, okay, the only way that I'm going to sort of do this and like I need to get this stuff out now because I don't want to sit on this stuff forever.
So
I was like, well, I'm going to have to start up this label thing. So at the moment it's just basically trying to get the label going and get a bit of a sort of, an idea. And I had a bit of momentum going towards the end of last year, going into this year, and then all this COVID stuff happened, and now I haven't got any sets. So, it is what it is. But, that's basically like, I'm not sort of aiming for any particular label or anything like that at the moment, which is good. Like, I don't have any constraints on me. I feel like I'm just like writing whatever the hell comes into my head at the moment, which is great.
Bandcamp is an amazing tool.
Oh man, totally. Yeah, it's unreal. Like I make enough off there to be able to basically fund the next release, which is great. Like
seriously,
I don't make much off on it, but I make enough on Bandcamp to just keep it rolling forward, which is good, to pay for the mastering and the artwork, and that's
amazing, dude.
All I pay for. So
it's
great.
That's so good, man. One of the things that I've always admired about you, and I don't mean to blow smoke up your ass, but it's how you manage to make money in music despite playing ridiculously niche shit and not making, not reaching the superstardom, like, and making the crazy dollars, but you've managed to carve out a living working in
and that's
music.
The thing. I make like, I sort of look at that every now and then I think, hang on, like I'm a music teacher. Like that's what I do by day. Like I teach music to high school kids.
Yeah.
And then I also, you know, a bit of income from the label, which isn't really income. It's more just to keep the label going. And then also I'm doing the education and bass stuff. So that's a bit of extra income from that.
Yep.
And then I'm doing some mastering and mixing for people. So it's like all these little bits and pieces that just sort of all come together.
Yeah.
Which is great. But if I didn't have like obviously my main job, like I'd be stuffed. But but that's, you know, it's good that everything revolves around music for me. Like it's like I sort of look back on it like maybe every now and then and think, yeah, that's what I do. Like all my income and my, you know, livelihood is based on music and being able to share what I've learned over the years in music and stuff like that, which is really cool. So
that's super.
It's pretty rewarding.
That's super admirable, man. And I think,
cheers, man. Thanks.
No, honestly, and I think that, you know, I haven't got a career in music at all, which is one of the reasons that I'm sort of starting this, is because I love it.
Yeah.
But I need some sort of outlet to keep involved in it. So yeah. I think kids who have a passion when they're younger could do with the lessons that you've learned in terms of like making a career in it without being the super mega star that you see on Instagram. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And like that's the way I sort of like push them. Like I'm like, look, okay, so like the kids in class, I'll be like, chances are you're not going to be Taylor Swift, or you're not going to be this and that. And I sort of break it down like, you know, it's not that I'm trying to crush their dreams. I'm just trying to be real. Like, and it's like, okay, but if you want to make a career off music, you can quite easily, but you just need to know that you don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
If you do that, like if you just rely on, for example, now we're seeing like obviously people who rely on touring that's where all their income gone.
Yeah.
It's gone now. So, you know, like if I was DJing for a living, I'd be screwed at the moment. So I'm kind of in a pretty good position. And that's what I sort of tell the kids is like, yeah, if you want to make a career out of it, you can, but you just need to sort of diversify where all your income's coming from, because otherwise it's just, if it's just the one thing and it goes under, then, you know, that's it. So
yeah, you can't. Yeah. Good shit, man. Good shit. So I want to talk about synths.
Yes.
Because I'm following your adventures in building your own synths, which is just a whole other thing. So I guess I wanted to get from you, like, where did that come from? What do you think about sort of like sample-based production versus sound design? And talk to me about this big badass motherfucker that you've just completed as of like a few days ago.
Yeah, totally. All right. Well, like I got into building like Eurorack modules just basically because it was cost-effective way of me getting into that stuff.
Okay.
So
synths can be pretty pricey, hey?
They're expensive. It's an expensive hobby. But yeah, so basically like if you get into DIYing your own modules, then it dramatically reduces the cost of you, the outlay that you have to have for those things. So it was sort of okay, well, if I want to get into this thing, I'm going to have to try and do it in a way that's going to be cost effective for me. So I started building some modules, and then I just got hooked on building them. It's like, well, yeah, it's just fun. Like, it's not that I'm not designing them or anything like that. I'm not an electrical engineer or anything. Like, I'm not doing any of that. I'm just basically following like an instruction. It's like expensive Lego, like following instructions on how to do it. And, you know, it's basically, here's the bill of materials, go to, you know, Mouser, which is like the, basically like an electronics super online mega store that you can pretty much get any component that you want.
Yep.
And you just, you know, you buy the bill of materials off there or your components, it comes, and then you get your circuit board, put it all together, and away you go. So,
yeah.
It's pretty simple in a way, but it's more like, it's been a massive learning curve for me. Like going from, like I did some electronics in high school. Like you know, I did 2 years of electronics in high school, so I wasn't like
bit of welding,
totally new to soldering. Yeah,
bit of welding,
but I hadn't
bit of soldering.
I hadn't done it for 20 years or whatever.
Yeah.
So basically, like, I started getting into just like the through hole stuff with, you know, the it's your standard sort of through hole where there's basically like a holes in the circuit board and you put the wire, like the leads through and solder them and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then I started getting into more digital modules that are like SMD, so they're real tiny components. And you can use like a frying pan. You can put all like liquid solder, solder paste, and you basically put all the bits on with solder paste, chuck it in the frying pan, and it does its thing.
What?
Which is, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
So it's fun. Like, that was a little trick that I learned from some mates of mine that they got their own module company, Serpents Modular.
Yep.
They got their own company down in Melbourne. Two mates of mine, two brothers, Tom and Chris. Chris is an electrical engineer, so he designs all their modules and stuff like that. And Tom's the marketing and business guy.
Sorry, are they the guys that build it's the synth made in Australia that there's like one or two guys doing it and it's just building it and there's a huge waiting list and that kind of thing?
Yeah, that sort of stuff. So Serpents Modular is their company. If you do you remember Droid Sector?
I do.
Dubstep producer.
Yeah, man.
It's him and his brother.
No way.
So
back in the day, low society days, mate.
That's it. Yeah. So that's what he's up to now. Like, he's got his main job and stuff, but he also does the Serpents Modular stuff with his brother. So, but
shout out to Droid
they
Sector.
sort of like shout out to the boys. So like, they sort of got me hooked on Eurorack. Them and Zach, like, they got me hooked on that stuff.
Yeah.
And then so like, it's been good because having Chris there, who's, you know, like I said, electrical engineer. If I've ever got any questions like, why the hell does this doesn't work or whatever, he's like, oh, test this or do that or whatever. It's like, oh, okay, cool.
Yep.
So that sort of was really helpful.
You got a couple of rabbis that are able to help guide you through the woods.
Yeah. So that was really good. So I got my rack is pretty good now. I'm onto a bigger one now too. Or not a bigger one, but a second one.
Yep.
That I built. So I've got, you know, tons of modules, and that's fun. And, you know, I've sort of had to sort of whittle it down a bit, and I've played a few live sets and stuff like that now. So it's been good, like, seeing what I do and don't use live and how to so I've changed it around the setup and stuff heaps, which has been cool. And then so that is just really, like, I love using that because it's just so quick to come up with ideas.
Mm-hmm.
There's, like, I haven't found a faster way to just getting in and start generate ideas than Eurorack. It's awesome. And the sounds that you come up with and the rhythms and all that sort of stuff is, like, it's not something that I would do in the computer.
Yep.
The way I
you just wouldn't think to program it or whatever.
No, yeah. It's just like, it's like playing an instrument, really. It's like, you know, like playing a guitar or playing a bass or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, there's just something about the expression that you can have in the way that you know, move the knobs and the sliders and stuff like that. And just the feel of it is just more like playing a guitar or a keyboard or whatever than it is clicking away on the computer.
Yeah.
So that's how I got into the sort of building of it and that sort of stuff. And that's a bit of how I sort of use it. Like, it's just, if I'm stuck for ideas, it's just a great sort of way to break through that sort of writer's block or whatever you want to call it, that barrier there. So you just jump on there, start playing around, and then you've got a million ideas already within. That
was going to be one of my questions.
Minutes.
How do you overcome writer's block? How do you, if you hit creative blocks, how do you overcome them? It sounds like you've sort of found a way to just kind of,
I think, like, writer's block is kind of, it's a difficult thing to say. Like, it's a bit of burnout as well. Like, I feel sometimes like writer's block isn't necessarily a block. It's more of like a motivation thing. And it's like, you can do it. Like, it's just, do you want to, do you feel like doing it at that time? And sometimes it's like, I just couldn't be bothered getting in the studio right now. But sometimes it's just like, you just have to force yourself through that. And, you know, it's like, well, okay, I don't really feel like making music, but I probably should make some music because I haven't made any for a while. So let's turn on the synth and off we go. And then, like, you know, 20 minutes later, I'm like, okay, cool. It's fine. Like, there's no block. There's no block. Your only block is like just your head just saying, I don't really feel like doing this.
Yeah.
You just need to just switch that off and just try and break through. And that's how I sort of approach it. Even if I don't feel like making music, usually after half an hour of forcing myself to, I do. So
yeah.
So yeah. It's just and getting over that initial hurdle. So
yeah, totally. It's awesome, man. I'm glad that you sort of found something that can get you through those moments.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. So the next question was in terms of like, sample based production versus sound design. So do you like? Obviously, when everybody starts, they're going to be using samples. I don't know how many. Like, I just I would imagine that it's just the easier way to kind of start getting ideas out because sound design is a whole. Yeah, it's complicated. So yeah, I guess we've sort of already covered this off that you are now more in the sound design territory. But like, do you have any kind of thoughts on one versus the other, or?
Well, they're both different tools, really. Like samples for me, like I sample stuff all the time. I'm always using samples, and whether they're samples from music that I like listening to, or sample packs with loops, or drum hits or whatever. I just use everything that I can, I guess. Like, it's not like I can't try and combine a bit of both, really. Like, when I go to make a track, I'm usually, most of my drums and stuff like that are usually samples. Kick drums and hi-hats and stuff like that are usually samples. Sometimes I'll make my own, either in the modular or just on the computer. I'll make my own kicks and stuff like that too. But I'm not, don't have a problem with using samples. It's just a quick way of doing things. It's more like, okay, what do I want to do now? Do I want to make a track? Am I sitting down to make a track? If I am, then it's okay, let's just chuck samples in and let's just get the track going, and then I can change stuff later.
Yeah.
Or am I sitting down to design sounds? So it's sort of like sometimes there's a different approach to the process that you're doing. So it's, okay, well, today I am just designing kick drums, okay, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to make like 20 kick drums, or, I'm going to go and make some percussion loops, and I'll spend like, 3 hours making all sorts of percussion loops. And that way, when I go to make a track later on, I can just go and pick all the stuff that I've made and just go, okay, drop that in. Oh yeah, that works. Cool. Off we go. Yeah. So it's like good having those sessions just to create stuff for yourself, so you're not reaching for ideas later. It's more like, okay, cool. So I got all this stuff. It's organized. It's there, and I can just go in and start making music. And do you
that kind of stuff? Do you just bounce it out as like an audio file, or do you keep and keep this? Do you keep the session as well, or do you just bin it? Because I'm imagining that there's quite a lot of hard.
It depends. I'll usually keep, like, if it's some sort of like a template where, like, some things I'll have like templates for making this or that or whatever. So I'll keep them and I'll go back into them later if I'm ever after a similar sort of approach or a similar sort of sound. But I'm pretty ruthless when it comes to bouncing stuff out to audio. I think that it's a good way of sanity checking yourself, I guess. It's like, is it good? It's good. Okay, print it. It's like that, old school way of, everything was going to tape. And so if it went to tape, and it's like, that's it. That's on tape. You can't change it now. So, it's basically like that thing. It's like, okay, well, that's printed. I'm just going to use it the way it is. Yeah. So, yeah. So that's, I use both. So, sound design, samples, whatever, anything I can get my hands on, man. So,
nice.
Yeah,
and
it's just those different approaches.
So the stuff that you're making these days, the releases that I've heard, Blazing World, and what was the one that came out after Blazing World?
Blazing World was the second one. Rangda was the first one.
Okay.
So Rangda came out must have been end of July or August last year. Oh, yeah, what's it today? So it came out 1st of August last year.
Yep.
And then Blazing World came out in, I think it's December last year as well. So
yeah,
nice. So those two releases,
And I guess the stuff that you're making is quite it's dark techno, that's what I would classify it as, albeit some very odd polyrhythms going on. So there's it's different. I think there's one of the tracks in there, I could look it up, I don't know the name, but when I'm mixing it, I'm pretty sure you've done it in a triplet phrasing, and it just doesn't work with like 4/4 stuff. I keep getting caught out by it. It's like it's got some odd time signature stuff going on. Yeah.
Yeah. The trick is that most of it's in 3/4. So basically, like I think that out of all the releases I've done, there's only one track that's in 4/4.
Okay.
The rest of them are pretty much in 3/4. When I first started doing this stuff, I used to write it at 170 in 4/4, but with like a triplet grid.
Yep.
And then so it'd go sort of drum and bass to techno, drum and bass, and sort of like going between the two.
Yep.
But then I changed that approach probably a couple of years ago and started doing it at sort of techno tempo in 3/4.
Okay.
Which was just a different way of approaching it really.
Achieves the same effect, but just
same,
the way that you think
the same
about it
deal.
and
And
approach
it's the way that I sort of structure it and organize, and it is a little bit different, and it's a little bit easier to manage.
Okay.
But yeah, and then like, so some of the stuff that I've sort of written recently has just been sort of 4/4 techno. So I'm started doing just that too.
Okay.
But yeah, most of it's in 3/4. So using lots of polyrhythms and lots of meter as well. So basically like polyrhythms is where you're trying to fit a whole bunch of one rhythm into another rhythm, whereas polymeter is like different sequence lengths and things like that. So like you might have a sequence that goes for 7 16th notes over a sequence that goes for 4 16th notes or something like that.
Yep. And they're just playing over the top of each other.
Yeah. And they'll sort of sync up every now and then and that sort of stuff. So yeah, there's a couple of different ways you can approach that with rhythm and that.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of the stuff that I've been doing over the past maybe 6 months, probably a little bit more, has been really, I've been listening to a lot of like Drexciya and a lot of really sort of groove-based techno stuff.
Okay.
A lot of sort of just really funky stuff. And so, yeah, a lot of the stuff that I've been writing recently has been really influenced by that.
Yep.
Guys like Peter Van Hosen and who else I've been listening to? Peter Van Hosen, lots of Drexciya, lots of that sort of stuff. So
any
like
record labels in particular that are doing it, or you're mainly following the people? I guess
just more like following artists, I guess. Like it's not really like I don't really listen to. I mean, I listen to a lot of music, but I go through stages of listening to the same sort of thing for a while, and then I just don't listen to anything for like a week or two, and then I'll find something else. Like I try and like constantly sort of take it away, so when it comes back, it's like refreshing for me. And it's not like I don't do that deliberately. But it's just something that I kind of do, so it's fresh and exciting again.
Similar thing with that burnout from before. It's like you do it a lot, and then you just need to look. I just can't be bothered now to focus on.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
And I take a break from it, and then I come back to it. And during that break from it, I'll go and listen to all the stuff that is classic stuff for me. All my rock bands and punk bands and metal bands from my youth and all that sort of thing. Like that's all this undercurrent. Every all the crazy techno and drum and bass and stuff like that that's going on too.
So you're listening to Radiohead the other day.
Yeah. All that sort of stuff like Radiohead and whatever.
Magic, man. So
all the bands. Yeah.
So upcoming releases for you. You got one coming out in the next couple of weeks. Is that right?
Yeah. So I got my new EP called Color Music. It's coming out on the 10th of August. So
beautiful.
Not next Monday after.
Okay.
That's a 4-tracker, and basically, what I've been sort of doing lately is in groups of tracks is having them in like not like a theme or an idea or something that sort of ties them together. It might be like a concept, like some sort of thematic concept. It might be a musical concept that ties them together. In this one, it's like this French composer Messiaen, and he developed these modes of limited transposition. So it's like basically like instead of using like your major and minor scales and stuff, he created these different symmetrical scales that are different to those. So basically, like they can create harmonic colors and melodic colors that you wouldn't normally get with your standard major or minor or the modes of those either.
Yeah.
And so like they're modes of limited transposition because you can't transpose them into different keys more than, you can do it less than 12 times. So basically, like if you've got a C major scale, you can transpose that to, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, all the way up to, like all 12 notes.
Yep.
Right. But the modes of limited transposition, you can only transpose them a couple of times before they're back to the same place.
Okay.
So they're really interesting for coming up with like these weird chords and harmonic colors and just like the way I've sort of been looking at music is like I want it to be, my music anyway, to be really colorful. And that's what I was saying going back to earlier, like, all this techno and stuff that I listen to and I love, but I find a lot of it is quite grim, and which is fine, which is cool.
Yeah.
And like really grim and atmospheric, but it doesn't have a lot of. I love melody, I love hooks and I love interesting chords and jazz and stuff like that. So I try and sort of put that into this grey area techno-y sort of stuff, I guess. And so I feel like this EP is sort of like the best example of that idea now. So so that was the sort of like theme that tied, like, or each track used a different one of these modes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was where I was getting to. So
No, that's awesome, man. And that comes out when? When's that coming out?
The 10th of August.
Beautiful. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'll definitely pick it up. It's, hearing the backstory is really nice. I'm gonna, now look up this modes of limited
Check it out.
transposition.
It's really interesting, man. Yeah. Like a lot of composers and stuff have used them. It's not. I got onto it through this guy called Rick Beato. He's like a YouTube music guy. Does heaps of theory stuff and that sort of. He's really good. Like he sort of really not dumbs it down, but explains it in a way that's just anyone can understand.
Nice.
And it was a couple of videos that he did on these, and I was like, he was playing these interesting chords, and I was like, that's really cool. I got to use a couple of those. So it's not like it's any different tuning or anything like that. It's not like, I'm using microtonal tuning or anything, which is probably another thing down the track.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's the same sets of notes that we have, but it's just arranged in different ways.
Yeah.
So,
I remember when I was a metalhead, when I was in my metal days, and I looked at techno and I heard about techno and I was like, that fucking sucks. Like, that is, I looked at it and I was just like, that's just boring, lame. There's nothing to it. Repetitive and shit. And now having my buddy, do you know Nate? He has a buddy that said techno's a graveyard. Anyone that listens to electronic music in any relative area of seriousness will eventually end up listening to techno. So it's the graveyard.
It's true. It's true. It's just where everyone ends up.
Yeah.
No matter where you are, everyone ends up there.
And now that I'm here, I'm like really, really excited to hear this.
It's great.
This techno that you're about to release. I love all your releases. I think they're really spacious, atmospheric, and they are melodic and stuff like that. I really dig your stuff. But I remember when I was back in Oz last time, Distance was playing at Was it Sherlow's? No,
Sherlow's.
Was it Sherlow's?
Yeah.
And you played a set of all your own releases, which
that was all like a dubstep set, which I hadn't done in a while. Like that was probably my first dubstep. That was 2018, and that would be the first dubstep set I played probably since 2015 or something like that. And it was just all my own stuff on that. So
that's amazing, man. The fact, so like I've been, we've been hanging out for a long time, and I love that you're still producing, and making beats, and you've made a career in it, and it's really fantastic, man. So props.
Cheers, dude. Thank you.
No worries.
Awesome.
Tell me about Education and Bass.
Yeah. So I've been working with them for about a year now. So a couple of friends of mine, Pip and Sean, they run a website called Producer Hive. And they started doing some work with Education and Bass, and they sort of passed my name on to the guys that run it, Raf and Andrew. And Raph I'd sort of spoken with a little bit back in the dubstep days. Like I used to send tunes to him and stuff like that. So we'd sort of chatted in the past. So he kind of remembered me. And then, yeah, so they got me on board, and like basically the CV looked good, masters in, teaching and all that sort of stuff. So like, yeah, okay, cool. We'll get you on board here, do a couple of courses. And yeah, a year later, I'm, still working with them, and it's great. Like, basically, like I've learnt heaps doing it myself as well. It's like, so they've sent me off to do a course on phase, for example, like a whole, couple of hours on phase. And like, I was like, okay, yeah, I can do that. But I'm going to have to do some research first. Yeah. So I like, it's not that I didn't know about it, but I learnt way more about what phase is, for example, by doing the course and stuff.
You're talking about speaker placement and sound waves, right? Being in sync.
Yeah. So basically, like, it's like, if you're in, got a stereo track, and, if your left channel is out of phase with the right channel, then it's either going to cancel out if it's like completely out of phase, or it's going to cancel out certain frequencies if it's slightly out of phase and stuff like that. So that was a whole course on that and how to combat that, and how to also use it in ways that are creative too. So like phaser effects and stuff. So it's been really like a whole sort of learning process for me with that, with trying to come up with courses that I can talk about, but it's like, how do I structure this into like an actual engaging educational experience as well. So it's like I could talk about that stuff all day, but it's just me like rattling on. So it's like, okay, so that's been a whole thing as well. It's like taking my whole sort of teaching knowledge and sort of I'll do like a whole sort of like, when I do the program and that for it, I'll do, okay, so these are our, the learning intentions. This is what you're going to do, blah, 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 blah. And sort of structure it based on, the teaching theory and stuff that I know.
So what courses have you sort of run for them so far?
Yeah, I've done, I did like, the first one I did was basically like creating 808 drum sounds just with like a software synthesizer.
Okay.
But that was cool because I did like a whole research on how the sounds in an 808 are created. And so I tried to replicate the different sort of ways that the oscillators interact, and how the schematic is set up and all that sort of stuff to make them. And I came pretty close. I was pretty happy with that. So that was one of them. I did a couple on just some of the Ableton stock plugins. I did that phase one. I've done one on compression. I did one on EQ, and I just did like a massive 4.5 hour techno one. That's my most recent one.
Nice.
Which is really cool. Like I was really happy with that. Just basically it's just me writing a track, like from start to finish, like from coming up with the sounds and stuff to arranging it to mixing it. And they were stoked with that. So so that's sort of what I'm sort of more working on now with them, is sort of going in more a techno direction and that sort of stuff, which will be cool. In the next few months. So
yeah, nice, man. So yeah, like I've seen them kind of floating around. I've seen like ads for them, education and bass. Who else have they got on board?
So it's run by Nominee. Nominee runs it.
Who's that?
And so do you know Outrage?
No.
Do you remember? He's a drum and bass producer. Anyway, Nominee is a dubstep producer. Same guy, Outrage, drum and bass, Nominee, dubstep.
Yep.
But he's got released on like Temper and stuff like that. Like,
oh wow, okay.
Yeah, a few years back. He's got some awesome tracks. Anyway, he started it off, and he got Raph Nerve on board. He used to be Macabre Unit.
I remember the name.
Yeah, used to do like grime.
Been around for time.
Yeah, he's been around for a long time, man.
Yeah.
So he sort of runs the marketing and getting like producers on board and stuff like that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, it's mainly those two sort of running it, and then there's a whole bunch of other producers, like they've got Leon Switch, Digital, who else is on there? They had Cocktail Party Effects, did a couple of videos for him. Myself, Occult, Tycho, a few other guys. Yeah,
Wow.
It's cool. Yeah, there's a lot of good dudes on there. So guys and girls. There's some great DJ Rap. Did a whole like music business course and stuff like that. So it's awesome. Yeah.
Nice one, man. Nice one. And okay, let me just check my notes here. Okay. This has been the first down moment in the whole thing.
Yeah, I think we've done pretty well up to here, man.
It's actually it's gone really well. Right. You're an Ableton man, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were a Cubase.
I wasn't.
You were a Cubase man.
I was for a long time, very long time. I started using Cubase must have been 2000.
Yep.
I think I had like some crack version of Cubase when I was in like year 11, year 12, something like that. No, I had no idea what I was doing, but it was fun, just making stupid sounds and stuff.
Yep.
And then, I think I kept using Cubase up until 2 years ago. So it was like pretty much 18 years with Cubase.
Yeah.
And it was great. Like I still use it every now and then, not much for production, more if I'm going to record like actual audio things, like if I'm recording, guitars or recording microphones and mixing stuff that's like live stuff, then I'll use it. It's just easier to do that than it is in live, because the way that it handles audio is like a million times better than live. For your editing and stuff, but just everything else, Ableton just kills it.
Yeah,
it's just so good for just like I was saying again before about coming up with ideas quickly. It's just nothing touches it for coming up with, just jamming ideas and that sort of thing. Like, you got that, like the session view where you can just basically like load clips in and make your little clips and loops and stuff like that. And you just jam and jam and jam until you start getting ideas. And then I'll arrange everything like down the page first. So down like that session view, I'll do most of my, or like a bit of a skeleton arrangement downwards. Then I'll record that onto the like arrangement page. And then that way I've got something there then, rather than having nothing. Like that was the thing with Cubase. It was like you go in and be like, oh, let's get down and make a track. And it's just this blank thing. And you just got to like fill it from left to right.
Yeah.
and just with Ableton, it's just easy to get an arrangement cracking. Like if I, like yesterday, for example, I jammed out like all day on a new track and had tons of ideas, put them on there. This morning I sat down and arranged it, and I've basically got the skeleton of the track there now. So now I can just go in and just start chiseling away. I look at it like a piece of like stone or whatever, and like you chisel it away and then pass over it again and chisel some more and chisel and just refine those details down. But yeah, it's just so good for coming up with things quickly. It works really well with the modular as well.
Okay.
It's got like these CV tools that I can like sync the clock of the modular, and I can send signals out from Ableton into the modular and process them in there. Like I can send triggers and rhythm stuff out of, like I've got a special module that can send stuff out. And then I've got another one I can send like 6 channels from the modular into Ableton. So if I'm recording 6, if I've got like a thing going that has 6 different parts, I can record them all on 6 separate channels in Ableton as well, which is sick. So
wow.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. It's like I haven't really encountered any problems with Ableton apart from the way that it does audio. It can be a bit funny sometimes. Cubase, like I said, just is way better at that.
Yeah.
But everything else is just fantastic. It's just
I learned in the beginning on Pro Tools, and looking at, and when I looked at Ableton for the first time, I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And it's like, so confusing, monolithic program that everyone says is the best thing ever, and I'm there sitting looking at it going, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I felt like a dumbass. Having mucked around with it in the last sort of like month or so, I now understand session view, arrangement view, and it's that thing down the bottom, whatever it is, your rack that's down
you've
down
got
the bottom.
like that whole, I can't remember the actual name for it. Is there a name? I'll hover the mouse over it, see if it comes up with anything. It's the detail view. So it's just that whole strip down the bottom.
The strip down the bottom, yeah.
And it's like that's where you have all, you know, your effects, and you can edit your audio and
build your
MIDI
instruments,
and...
build your drum racks, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, no. Once I got my head around that, I started to be like, oh, okay, yeah, this is powerful. But then even, there's just different ways that you can use it. You can use it as a live performance thing. You can use it to arrange stuff. Like, it's just so versatile. It does so much.
Yeah, it is. It's great for live stuff. Like, it's not called live for nothing. I started doing some live stuff, like over that lockdown that we had here. I was doing a few like live modular sets that I was using Ableton to do some live stuff, and I played a couple of like live sets last year where I had my laptop and the modular rig, and Ableton was just crushed it. I used the push as well with it, and the push and Ableton together is just such a wicked combo. Yep. Because you can launch your clips.
Would you? Sorry to cut you off. Would you advise somebody starting out to get a push, or do you think it's yes?
Yeah, a push or a launch pad. Either or. Like the push. I mean, obviously, it's the Ableton device, so you know it's probably just that little bit better integrated with it. Yep. But you can't go past you can't go wrong with a launch pad either. The launch pads are great.
Okay.
But the push just has I've got a push 1, which is awesome, but it's just got the display isn't as good as the push 2 and a few other features. Like the push 2 has that nice crisp multicolor LCD display and all that, whereas this one just has this bland orange one. Yeah. But at least it's got a display.
Yeah, and I mean, is the functionality very similar? Like, does
mostly? It's not a huge difference. It's more like a mostly cosmetic upgrade with some other bells and whistles.
Okay.
On version 2. Yeah, but it's if you're using Ableton, you can't go. You probably need some sort of control surface for it. Like, I couldn't go back to not having it.
Really?
Yeah.
It's that essential to the setup now.
So good. Like, if when I can travel again, I would, I've got one of these little, these guys, the little Launchpad Mini.
Yep.
So, I got that to control one of the sequences that I've got on my Eurorack. But if I was traveling, I would chuck that in the bag with the laptop, and you'd have a sick travel setup. So
beautiful.
Yeah.
Nice. Where are you playing out these days, or when lockdown isn't in full effect?
Yeah, I don't know yet. We'll see how long it is before I can actually play out again, man.
Yeah, but, you're up on the coast, hey?
Yeah, I live on the Central Coast. I'm at East Gosford.
Yep.
It's a bit sort of difficult at the moment with all that, but I was playing a bunch of techno parties and stuff at the end of last year. It was it's been a good slog to try and get to know techno crews and people in Sydney.
Yeah.
It's sort of something I've been trying to do for a few years, and I've eventually I sort of, we're finally starting to develop some relationships with some people, which has been great.
Yeah.
So I played Undisclosed, which were awesome crew at Two Flies. That must have been December last year.
Yeah.
I played a couple of Dun shows. They've got me on a bunch of times, so it's been
nice.
Been wicked.
Yep. Dunge very much fits your sound.
Oh man, yeah. And those boys are solid as they're unreal. So
they're actually some of the guys I want to get on this to talk about.
Do so. Yeah, they really got their heads screwed on, and they've got impeccable taste in music. So they know what they're doing, man. I've played with them a couple of times, and a few others. But yeah, sort of I was just hitting a good sort of momentum at the end of last year, and then
word of mouth was starting to spread. Talk of some good gigs on the horizon. Some people are going to be coming out. You're going to get the support.
That's it, man.
Gonski.
Yeah. And now it's not happening. But anyway, that's cool. It's fine. It is what it is. But yeah, look, it'll start back up again, and I'm just been making music for most of this whole time anyway. So at least I'll have some new stuff to play out when I can play out. I'll have pretty much a whole new set ready to go. So
yeah.
That's the plus side of it. So,
yeah, beautiful. Righto. So next question. the phrasing of that question is going to be really bad. Basically, okay, so aliens come to Earth.
Yeah.
And they say, Boot, we've been watching you on the internet, and we absolutely love your taste in music. We need to take 3 people that crystallize your taste in music back to our home world.
Right.
Yep. So the top 3 albums, artists, producers, go.
That's a tough one. My favorite producer is Trent Reznor. He's kind of like the producer's producer as far as I'm concerned. Like the stuff that guy does is just ridiculous, and he's just done it for so long, and has changed his approach so many different times, and is just wicked. Like whether it comes to his production under Nine Inch Nails or his movie soundtracks or that sort of stuff, is just phenomenal. I love him.
His experimentation.
So he's
constantly doing new stuff, not only in exploring new genres, but just the way sounds are being produced.
Yeah, basically. And it's just like, he combined, like no one else had done, the electric guitar with synthesizers. Like, I mean, obviously it had been done before, in the 80s and that sort of stuff, but he just did it in a way that just felt right. So yeah, there's him. Who else? This is a tricky question, man.
I know it's difficult to where you've got so many influences from so many different from your entire life to say, 3. But for the purposes of a podcast,
Trent Reznor for sure. Trace Bruance, from Secret Chiefs, Mr. Bungle.
Oh yeah,
he's amazing. Like Secret Chiefs are like probably my favorite band ever.
Really?
Well, it's difficult to say.
My
favorite band changes every day, but
they're fucking up there.
But yeah, they're definitely up there, man. Secret Chiefs are amazing. So Trace Bruance is an absolute musical genius, man.
Mm-hmm.
So just the way that, like, the things that he does, like for example, his Secret Chiefs is like a umbrella term for about 7 or 8 satellite bands, and each band in that sort of thing has a different philosophy and a different approach to music and their own style and sound and stuff like that.
Okay.
But what he does when he has an album that has all the bands on there, like he has sometimes albums where it's just the one band, or he might have an album where it's like each song is a different song from each of the bands. And basically he's got one band in the middle that feeds off all these like little snippets and signals pulls them from one band and sends them off to another band and stuff like that. It's this sort of like interconnected thing in the middle that's this, like, the satellite bands are around that, and then there's this one band in the middle that takes like snippets of melodies from one band and sends it off to another band and stuff. Yeah, it's nuts. And so basically there'll be like a couple of tracks throughout the album that have these sort of themes and rhythmic ideas and melodic ideas, or textural things that come from songs that you've heard previously on that album, or you're going to hear later, and transform them in some sort of way and then send it off, and then the next track will have like some piece of that. But yeah, it's nuts.
Wow.
So he's up there, like he's a freak.
That's more bands and musicians, right? Rather than electronic music and beat making. Is that is that more bands related than more kind of like electronic music production?
Yeah. That's mostly live music. They're really, Secret Chiefs is super influenced by like Middle Eastern music and stuff like that. But also a lot of electronic music, death metal, jazz, classical, film soundtrack stuff. So there's all this sort of thing, but their main big influential thing is Middle Eastern music, and they use a lot of traditional Middle Eastern instruments and stuff like that, which is super cool.
I'll have to check them out.
They're up there. And then who else? I don't know. I'm trying to reach for some sort of electronic music producer, and I don't know who it would be. Probably ASC.
Yep. Drum and bass.
ASC is yeah. Well, drum and bass and now mostly techno and ambient and grey area, and like the guy is basically like almost single-handedly shaped so many different movements in drum and bass. Like
really,
he pretty much created autonomic. Is that how you pronounce it? Autonomic. No one's ever said it to me, so I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah. I say autonomic.
So basically, yeah, autonomic is cool. So it was like him and D-Bridge and Instrumental were kind of the people that sort of cracked ahead with that. But ASC's kind of the guy that was the brains behind most of it.
Okay.
And then you had Grey Area, and minimal drum and bass and stuff like that. Grey Area come through in 2015, and he was like, that was his thing. Him and Sam KDC, who's probably ASC and Sam KDC are probably my favorite producers ever.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, and then he started doing all this crazy ambient stuff, and he basically releases like an album a month, the guy. Like, he's so prolific. Like, he just must basically write music all the time.
Yeah.
Non-stop. Every single day he would be in the studio and not having breaks, because he's just a machine. He's just like, you look every day, there's like new ASC album coming out, and then next week there's another one coming out and another one coming out.
Wow.
It's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I love him. So him or Sam, or can I take him and Sam KDC? They come as a package.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, ASC probably is unreal. Yeah.
Very nice. That's a really good top three, man. And I'm definitely going to have to check out the Secret Chiefs, because I listen to a lot of electronic music these days. And yeah, I'm neglecting my bands.
Yeah, it'll blow your mind, man. Like, they're phenomenal. There's so much to get through too. There's so much music there. It's awesome.
Yeah, where's a good place to start for each of those guys? So for people who are listening, never heard Nine Inch Nails or Trent Reznor.
Yep, 9 Inch Nails. You'd have to. Oh, it's hard. I'd say Downward Spiral. Like, that album is just a masterpiece. It's like, they did that wrote it in 1993, basically. And the technology available to them then, and to do what they did on that album, it's just ridiculous. Yeah, like, they were creating like velocity drum kits and all this sort of stuff, like years ahead before, like, East West and all those sample libraries and stuff were doing that. So that's what they did. Like, that's so they could have in a sampler, 127, or maybe not that many, but a ton of different velocity layers of kick drums and snare drums and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then be able to play them, on a keyboard or whatever. So there's that, and that's a good place to start. Downward Spiral or The Fragile.
Yep.
Pretty Hate Machine. Those three, you can't go wrong, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, Secret Chiefs. That's a difficult one too. I would probably go with either Book M or Book of Horizons. Let me check my Spotify. I can't remember if Book of Horizons is the one I'm thinking of. Anyway, it's not working. Book of Horizons is like, that came out like 2004, I think. Book M was like 99, 2000, and then they had there's been three recent albums that they've done with like I was saying, how there's like different bands and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So there was one called Ishrakian, that's the name of the group, and the album's called Pericaresis, which is like, there's only like 5 or 6 tracks on there, but it's just mayhem. It's just polyrhythmic insanity. And
you love it.
I love it, man. It's nuts. And then ASC, that's a hard one too. Like like I said, he's so prolific.
I guess the autonomic
got like
series.
Yeah, the autonomic stuff. Yeah, all those mixes, the
Yeah.
instrumental, like Kid Drama and that did like back in the day were ridiculous. Really good example of that. Like I've been listening to him since probably 2005 ASC. He used to do all this really interesting like atmospheric drum and bass and stuff around then. So he had some really cool stuff then. But yeah, the autonomic stuff, like, and his album that came out on Non Plus in like 2010, I can't remember what it was called. It had like a black cover with like an orange circle thing. Oh, it'll come to me. Anyway, look up ASC on Spotify and it'll be there. It was like 2010 it came out. And then when he first started doing that grey area stuff, I can't remember the name of the album, but yeah, any of the grey area releases on Samurai on Horo, they're all unnamed artists. So there's basically like Sam KDC, ASC, Enna, a few other guys were contributing to it, but you don't know for sure which track is whose.
Okay.
You can guess, you can go, oh yeah, that kind of sounds like an ASC track. That's probably ASC, but you're never really like 100% sure. So that's kind of cool. Like any of the grey area releases, there was like 5 of them, and there's 4 tracks on each of those. They're just like my Bible at the moment, man.
Yeah.
And have been for a few years.
Cool.
And he just had an awesome album come out with Sam KDC, which was their sort of follow-up. They did an ambient album a few years ago in like 2012, 2013, something like that. I can't remember. But anyway, they did a new album, just an ambient album, just recently. And I got that on vinyl, just came the other week. It is called ASC, Sam KDC. It's called A Restless Mind.
A Restless Mind.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's like super sci-fi, just really chill, ambient stuff, but real techie as well, real atmospheric. And they did an album called Decayed Society as well, which is that was their first ambient album they did together.
Yep.
And which is really good too. But yeah, this is like the follow-up to that. So yeah, there's a whole bunch to choose from with ASC. So, just
there's
go
so
to
much
Spotify.
music being released all the time, man. Sometimes it's a bit overwhelming to try and keep up with it all.
That's the thing. It's like, it's just, there's so much, and you've only got such only this amount of time to do it. And like, I'd be here all day if I could listen to every single thing. And so like, I try to keep up with what's going on, but then, something's got to give at some point.
Yeah.
So I've eventually got to get in the studio and make music. So,
yeah. What are your main sources for finding new stuff?
I don't know.
Keeping
really.
up to date. Yeah.
Yeah. I like Instagram. I'm on there a lot. So, I'm always finding out about, what artists are doing on there. Spotify is fantastic for that, man. I listen to enough music and enough varied stuff from everywhere that my playlists on there are pretty broad, and I often get like really cool stuff. Like the release radar and that is always has good new stuff on there, so I'm always finding like really cool stuff on that.
Yeah, nice.
And your daily playlists and stuff, sometimes things will pop up that'll be like, oh, what the hell is that? I've never heard that before. And it'll be like, oh, that's this guy? I've never heard of him, or her, or whatever.
Yep, down the rabbit hole.
Then off you go. So, yeah, Spotify has been my sort of, that for the past maybe 5 years or so, that's how I've found most of my music that I listen to. Really, which kind of sucks, but that's just the way it is.
I mean, have you earned had any royalties from Spotify streams? Because one of the complaints is that Spotify is a medium that is basically selling other people's music and not paying the artists. So
I don't make anything off Spotify, man. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Okay. Maybe $2. I don't know. I don't know. I made the money I make from my releases is just basically Bandcamp.
Yeah.
That's where that all comes from. Like Spotify, I don't get much. Apra, I get a bit.
Okay.
Apra's great. for if you're an artist, like I've got, you know, all my boot stuff on there still and everything like that. So I make, you know, enough to buy a case of beer every 6 months or something off APRA, which is all right. You know, it's so I've like my
track bands out there that for anyone out there that hasn't been bothered to join APRA yet, just do it.
Yeah,
because
there's you
money
need to.
That could potentially be there for you.
It's free money. So yeah, I've got a library of like, you know, 80 tracks on there or something now. So it's good to have. And if anything ever sort of gets played out on the radio or whatever, then, you know, you get a bit of cash for it. So yeah, it's good.
Nice, man.
Definitely well worth doing.
Yeah. Well, listen, thanks so much for taking the time to have a chat, man. We could do this for a lot longer, but I'm aware of the sort of time in that. And it's been about an hour now. So listen, mate, it's been a bloody pleasure. Have you enjoyed it?
I have, man. It's been awesome chatting with you. It's been unreal. Yeah.
It's been really nice catching up, man. I'm really looking forward to listening to the new release, seeing what you produce on this new beast of a synth. Have you named it?
No, I haven't. I don't really name. I'm not sentimental in that way. I don't name my guitars or anything like that. I prefer to not look at them as humans. They're definitely tools and not.
Fair enough. Yeah. Right. Well, what can we call? I'm going to call it the Beast because I'm.
Beast is good. The Beast is good. It is an absolute monster, man. Like it's like I started using it on my first track yesterday, and it's just like holy shit. It's an absolute weapon.
Is it? Yeah. Sorry, getting back to it. Is it something that you've designed yourself, or is it?
No,
you built it by. It's built by design.
Yeah, it's a clone of an ARP 2600, which is like a classic 70s mono synth, which is like ARP's answer to the Mini Moog, basically. So down to the point where even the filter design was kind of ripped off from the Mini Moog filter design. So they had to change it sort of halfway through their production cycle to a new filter design. So the cool thing is it comes with both filters, so you can pick and choose which one you want to put in. So if I feel like I want to use the post lawsuit filter, I can put that in, but I mainly use like the Moog sounding one because it's really, you know, it just sounds like a Moog filter. So it's got like 3 oscillators, it's got the filter, it's even got like a reverb tank in the back of it, like you would have with your guitar amp or whatever. It's got like put a little reverb tank in there.
What kind of reverb is it? What kind of reverb? It's just a
spring reverb.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's kind of quirky, kind of quiche sort of thing, but it's cool, like to sort of push it in every now and then, and you know, just get it to do its thing. But yeah, it's an absolute monster. Like I couldn't believe when I turned it on. I couldn't believe that it worked first up, but I couldn't believe the sound that came out of that thing, dude. It was just it's huge. Yeah. I love it. So
you're getting deeper down. You're getting deeper down the synth rabbit hole, and I think pretty soon like your background there, rather than being a wall, is going to be a wall of like your own homemade synths.
Yeah, I think so. I think we need a bigger house before. I'm starting to run out of room in my studio here because it's just like I've got these 2 benches on either side. One's got my synths and like the new synth and my old rack, and then I built a new rack, and then the new synth took the place of the new rack because I got nowhere else to put it. And then I've got like all my guitar pedals and stuff over on the other one, and there's like an electronic drum kit and all my guitars and stuff in here. So it's like there's barely room for me. So it's cool, but it's I want to be able to put art on the walls. I can't hang anything on our walls because we're renting and it's part of the clause of the lease.
Yeah.
But so there's not much of a vibe in here, which kind of sucks. But
you're going for the minimalist thing.
It's very minimal. Well, minimal in the way that there's nothing much on the walls, but not minimal in the way that there's heaps of gearing.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I wouldn't know the first thing about interior design. My girlfriend, she's the budding interior designer, and she's the one that's made the house look fantastic. So,
nice.
So you know, needing the woman's touch is definitely a thing.
I'm exactly the same, man.
Yeah. Mate, I'll tell you one thing. One thing I've learned: plants are dope. If you can get a plant, game changer.
My missus just gave me a plant to put in here yesterday. She's like,
"Oh,
do you
really?
want this plant?" Yeah, she's like, "Do you want this plant?" I was like, "Yeah, hell yeah." She's like, "You got to look after it." Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Don't
so
let
I
it
got
die,
a
mate.
plant. Yeah,
Yeah.
that replaced the. Oh, it's still here, but all I had before was like a $5 plastic Kmart cactus. So it's replaced that. So I've got a living thing in here now, which is good.
Beautiful stuff, man. Well, listen, the next time we catch up, I want to see, I want to see the plant. We want to meet him or her.
Yeah.
And sorry, I'm personifying objects again. But yeah, I'd love to check in again soon, man. I guess,
awesome.
yeah. Thanks for joining us, man.
Pleasure, man. Thanks for having me. Cheers. Appreciate it. Be good chatting
Great
with
stuff,
you.
bro. And remember, 10th of August is the Boot's new release. Not Boot,
Yep.
Special Circumstances.
Special circumstances, yeah.
Special Circumstances. Cool, brother. Right.
Awesome.
Peace.
Catch you, man.